Lately, I've been feeling a lot of uncertainty about the industry and my place in it, about the future and whether the work I'm doing now will actually lead somewhere. If you work in the creative industries, you've probably felt it too. Projects slowing down, clients ghosting, AI shaking things up, and all the noise online telling you what you should be doing to stay relevant. It's exhausting. But that uncertainty never really goes away. It changes and it ebbs and flows, but it's always there. So instead of trying to get rid of it, I'm trying to learn to live with it. In this video, I want to share a few practical habits that have helped me do that, to stay focused, take action, and keep making progress even when the future feels uncertain. And that uncertainty usually leads me straight to overthinking, which brings me to the first tip. I'm a classic overthinker. I'm guessing a lot of you are too, because it's pretty common, especially in creative people. The same things that allow us to come up with interesting ideas, creativity, sensitivity, and imagination can also lead to rumination, self-doubt, and anxiety. It's a blessing and a curse. I overthink what's happened in the past. Did I make a mistake? Did I make the wrong decision? Did I say the wrong thing? And I overthink the future constantly. I'm dealing with a lot of uncertainty about the future right now. I quit my job a couple of months ago and I'm starting a new business. The industry feels fragile and I'm not earning a steady paycheck. Both of these can be absolutely paralyzing. When I overthink the past, I replay things over and over in my head and I tend to focus on what other people think of the choices that I've made. The truth is, those people probably aren't thinking about me at all. And when I overthink the future, something I know I cannot predict, I tend to focus almost exclusively on the worst case scenario. What if I don't make any money in the next year? What if I fail publicly? What if the industry falls apart and I have to get another job? I'm part of a small community with some other YouTubers and we have a weekly group coaching session. There's a guy in the US who runs a golf channel. I don't know what he does for a job, but he's super smart and competent. He's clearly a successful guy. He drew a little diagram for me, which I now keep stuck to my computer. The worst case scenario is 20%. The best case scenario is 10%. Normal, average, and realistic results take up 70% of everything that's possible. When I look at that simple little drawing, I'm reminded that focusing on that bottom 20% just logically doesn't make any sense. If I allow overthinking to paralyze me and stop me making any progress, then that bottom 20% worst case scenario becomes far more likely. But if I focus on taking action and making steady progress, even if it's not perfect, I'm far more likely to land somewhere in that 70%. Maybe not in the top 10%, but that's fine. That brings me on to tip 2. Action beats overthinking. If you're worried about what might happen, or you don't know what you should be doing, just do something, anything. Pick one small task, sketch out an idea, practice your skills, write one email. I'm going to get philosophical with you now, so bear with me. The past and the future don't exist. The past only exists in our mind and our memories. It's done, it's gone, and we can't change it. We can choose to let regret and making stupid decisions keep us stuck in what used to be true, or we can choose to learn from it and try to do better. The future only exists in our imagination and anxieties. We don't know what's going to happen or what opportunities are around the corner. If we focus on the worst case scenario, we're far more likely to make that a reality for ourselves because we won't do what we need to do to achieve any other outcome. I love setting myself daily challenges. Exercising 30 minutes every day for 400 days in a row, writing for an hour a day, posting on social media every day for a month, because it gives me a clear, defined task to just do. It's never perfect, but at the end of the month or the year, the progress is unreal. If you want your life to be the same as it is now in a year, keep doing what you're doing. If you want it to be better, take one small positive action every day and it will get better. We can't control it, we can only influence it. You look at COVID or war or illness and other extreme circumstances, and it's obvious you can't control everything. But outside of those extremes, daily actions lead us in the right direction. The important word here is momentum. You can't steer a car that's standing still, but once it's rolling, you can steer it wherever you want to go. And I try to take action every day, big or small, it doesn't matter. It just keeps the momentum going. Because the worst days for my mental health are when I do nothing. I get to the end of the day and I just feel, what do I feel? I feel like I've wasted an opportunity. We all need rest and time off, of course we do. But because I've built up so much momentum over the last few years, with work, with fitness, YouTube, writing my book, social media, and taking different classes and courses, I can see how far I've come by choosing to take those daily actions. The only control we have is over what we do now, today. The daily actions we take and the daily habits we form for ourselves influence the future. Yeah, the future is uncertain, but if you do something, it makes tomorrow a little bit clearer because you know you're going in the right direction. So related to that, tip number 3 is about focusing on inputs over results. We can't control if or when a client has a project for us. We can't control what people think of our creative work. I can't control how many people like my latest YouTube video, but I can try and influence it. Wink, wink. But we can control what we put in, the inputs. For me, that's posting a video every week. Some flop, some do okay. I'm doing my part by posting them and trying to make them as good as I can. For you, that might be sending 3 emails a day to potential clients. You can't control who replies, but you do your part by sending those emails. It sucks when people don't reply. But if you send 15 emails in a week, and then 15 emails next week, and the week after that, that is something to celebrate. You did your part perfectly. When you start focusing on your inputs instead of all the possible outcomes, the uncertainty doesn't disappear, but it becomes manageable because you've defined success by what you can control. Showing up and making the effort is all you can do. Worrying about anything else outside of that is a massive waste of energy. This is so difficult to put into practice, but if you remind yourself regularly, it really does help. Tip number 4 is about becoming a doer. Who's that person in your life who tells you about all their ideas and plans and ambitions, but they've basically been living the same life at the same level for the last 10 years? There's value in sharing your ideas and your plans because you can get feedback on them. The problem is, sharing all of that feels like making progress. By saying it out loud, you get the little dopamine hit and a taste of momentum, and it sort of scratches the itch. And for some people, that's enough to satisfy whatever they wanted to get out of it. But talking about plans doesn't actually change anything. Taking real tangible steps towards them does. If you want to be a professional illustrator or a photographer or whatever else, you can't just want to be one and tell people you are one. You have to do all the things that make it real. Create things even when you're not inspired. Send the email even if you're nervous. Work your ass off to level up your skills without needing to complain about it or brag about it. You're doing it for you, not for anyone else. I'm a doer. I pick a project and I just go for it. Sometimes it's been a bit misguided, and I've learned the hard way that I should probably share more about what I'm doing and what I'm thinking because I've ended up blindsiding people and pissing them off. I wrote my book basically in secret, and it was only at the end, when it was finished and published, that I told certain people in my life about it. And one in particular was pretty irritated that I hadn't even mentioned it because it felt like I'd been hiding it intentionally. But really, I just wasn't sure I was ever going to finish it, so I didn't want to let too many people see me fail. There's a balance. You don't need to work in secret and disappear for months, but don't let talking about the thing stop you from making the thing. Part of being a creative or building something new for yourself is sharing it and promoting it and letting people know it exists. There are plenty of artists who are 100% doers. They practice all the time and they're really good, but they never show it to anyone. And they'll never get hired if nobody knows what they can do. The last tip here is about simplifying and disconnecting. A lot of the stress we feel as freelancers or in building something new is trying to do everything at once. Learning new skills, posting online, finding clients, working on the website, watching more YouTube videos, networking, looking for inspiration, reading the news, checking our phone. Whew. It's no wonder we feel overwhelmed. I'm thinking about business, money, YouTube ideas and stats, short-term goals and long-term goals, basically all the time. I look at social media a lot, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I listen to a lot of podcasts. It's exhausting. In healthy doses, those things are useful and good. I'm not consuming a lot of garbage. It's motivational and educational content for the most part, but there's way too much. New ideas to try, techniques and skills to learn. I literally don't have enough time to do it all. And again, it can cause me to overload myself, and what could be useful makes me indecisive, scattered, and unfocused. So this is what I'm working on right now for my mental health. I'm going on an information diet. I don't need to watch every video that might be useful. I don't need to check social media 5, 10, 50 times a day. I don't need every book I read to be about business or productivity. If I go out for a walk, I don't need to listen to a podcast. Even if I can get just 1 hour a day where I'm outside in the woods, just listening to the birds, or I read some fantasy sci-fi book just for fun, or I spend an hour cooking something delicious, it makes all the difference. I can just switch off from it all, or I can try at least. I'm in the process of starting Illustrators.com, a platform for professional illustrators. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out. There are 1,000 things I could be working on, but most of those things are distractions. I can cut 80% of those tasks and just focus on the most important 20%, and I'll still make progress. Adding more and more things to your plate leads to stress, overwhelm, maybe even burnout. But if we simplify and focus on what actually matters, take a break from consuming new ideas and constant input, we can find a better balance. This is really hard for me, but I'm trying to simplify my life and spend more time disconnected from information overload. If there's one thing I've learned this year, it's that I struggle with uncertainty, but it's not something I can fix because there's always uncertainty. I've felt it since I quit my job, but honestly, I felt it when I did have my job too. We can't predict where the industry is heading or what's going to happen with clients or AI, but we can choose how we show up every day, what we learn, what we make, and the small actions we do or don't do. If you spend your time trying to predict the future, you might end up not doing the things that matter right now. And in 5 years, if it turns out you were wrong, you might regret not starting and not trying. I've got a perfect follow-up to this video here about 100-day challenges. If you've got something you want to make progress on, that would be really useful. See you next time.